Life is relentless. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It just moves. And along the way it teaches, not always kindly, but always clearly. Let me tell you something up front. Life is going to teach you lessons. Whether you ask for them or not, whether you're prepared or not, whether you want them or not. And here's the kicker. If you don't learn them the first time, life will make you repeat the class. With interest. The tuition, time, energy, opportunity. Sometimes even your peace. You see, most people don't fail because life is unfair. They fail because they ignored the message. Or they were too proud to accept the truth. Or they waited for someone else to hand them the answers. But here's the truth. Nobody's coming. It's your job to pay attention, to get better, to stop blaming, start learning, and live on purpose. These are the lessons life teaches in whispers. And sometimes with a punch. They don't show up in school books. But they show up in your bank account, your relationships, and your results. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready to stop spinning in circles, then lean in. Because in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover 10 hard truths that if you learn them, apply them, and live by them, will change everything. Let's begin. Nobody's coming. You're responsible for you. Let me tell you something I learned early. Something that changed the entire trajectory of my life. Nobody's coming. That's right. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Not the government, not your boss, not your parents, not your friends, not even a miracle. If you're waiting for someone else to come knock on your door and hand you a better life, you're going to be waiting a long time. And I'll be honest with you, that truth might sting a little at first, but once it sinks in, something incredible happens. You realize you are in charge. You see, life begins to change the day you take full responsibility for your outcomes, not partial responsibility. Not well I would, but no full ownership. Full stop. Now I know that's not always easy. It's easier to blame, isn't it? The economy's bad. My manager doesn't support me. I didn't get the education I needed. My family never encouraged me. But here's what I found. As long as you blame someone else, you give them the power. And when you give away your power, you also give away your future. So the question is, do you want to stay a victim of your circumstances or become the architect of your life? Let me offer you a mindset shift. You can't always control what happens, but you can control how you respond, and your response. That's what determines your results. Now this isn't just about motivation. This is about math. Let me show you. If you want to double your income, who's going to do that for you? If you want to get in shape, who's going to get up early and go to the gym? If you want to build stronger relationships, who has to initiate the change? It's you. It's always been you. When I was 25, I was broke. Flat broke, no money, no direction, no clue, and I kept hoping someone would come fix it. But then one day, I heard the words that changed my life. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. That was it, the turning point. I stopped pointing fingers. I picked up the mirror, and I started working on me. I started reading books, taking notes, practicing disciplines, showing up early, staying late, saying no to distraction. Saying yes to growth. And guess what happened? The world didn't change. I did. And when I changed, everything around me started to respond differently. So let me challenge you. Stop waiting. Start moving. Stop hoping. Start building. Stop blaming. Start becoming. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You don't need a better past. What you need is a better decision. Today. Now I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I am saying it's going to be worth it. Take responsibility. Embrace the power of ownership. Because the moment you do, you shift from being a passenger in life to becoming the driver. And that's the beginning of everything you want. So remember, nobody's coming. And that's good news. Because you've had the key all along. Time doesn't care. Use it or lose it. Let me ask you a question. And be honest with yourself when you answer. Are you managing your time? Or is your time managing you? You see, time is one of the greatest equalizers in life. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, young or old, wise or wandering. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. What separates success from regret is how you use them. Here's the hard truth. Time doesn't care. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your intentions. It doesn't care whether you're ready or not. It just keeps moving. Now people say, I'm just killing time. But listen, time is not your enemy. Killing time is killing your future. You don't kill time. Time kills you if you waste it. Time is always marching forward. The question is, are you marching with it or falling behind? You've heard me say it before. Days are expensive. When you spend a day, you have one less day to spend. So be careful how you invest your hours, because life is just a collection of days. And how you spend your days is how you live your life. Here's what changed my life. Don't just get through the day. Get from the day. Learn something. Build something. Improve something. Because time used well builds dreams. Time wasted buries them. Let me give you an example. You spend 3 hours a day watching television. That's 21 hours a week. That's over 1,000 hours a year. That's more than 40 full days of your life. Gone, vanished, forgotten. Now ask yourself, what could you do with 1,000 focused hours? Write a book. Start a business. Learn a skill. Change your entire future. So the next time you say, I don't have time, check your habits. The truth is, you don't lack time. You lack clarity and discipline. Time doesn't ask permission. It doesn't pause for you to figure things out. It doesn't stop because you're afraid, or tired, or indecisive. It moves. And so must you. You have to decide what's urgent and what's noise, what's productive and what's distraction, what builds your future and what drains it. Because here's the reality. If you don't prioritize your time, someone else will, and they'll use your life for their dreams, not yours. You've got to be intentional. Get a planner. Make a schedule. Guard your mornings. Defend your evenings. Cut the nonsense. Say no to what doesn't matter, so you can say yes to what does. Because success doesn't show up in giant leaps. It shows up in daily choices, in what you do with your minutes, your moments. So let me leave you with this. If you had only 1 year left, how would you spend your time? Would you scroll? Would you gossip? Would you wait? Or would you build, grow, love, move, and make it count? Here's the secret. You do only have so much time left. You just don't know how much. So don't waste it. Time doesn't care, but you should. Because time won't give you a second chance. But you can give your life one, starting now. Pain is a better teacher than comfort. Let me give it to you straight. Pain is not the enemy. It's the instructor. It's the whistleblower. It's the alarm clock screaming, wake up, you've got to change something. Now I know comfort feels good. It's cozy. It's safe. It doesn't demand much. But here's the truth. Comfort never made anybody stronger. Pain did. Pain pushes you. Comfort lets you settle. Pain grows you. Comfort puts you to sleep. Pain exposes the gaps. Comfort hides them under a blanket of routine. You see, pain says, that habit is hurting you. Pain says, you've been ignoring your health. Pain says, you should have spoken up, stood up, showed up, and if you're wise, you'll listen. I remember years ago when I was broke, not just financially, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And I'll never forget how painful it felt, watching other people live my dreams, not because they were luckier, but because they were moving, and I was making excuses. That pain, it burned. But it also woke me up, because here's what I discovered. Pain is feedback. It's life's way of telling you, this isn't working. Something has to change. And if you ignore the pain, it doesn't go away. It just grows quieter, until it explodes later, when the price is higher. You don't fix pain by numbing it. You fix pain by learning from it. Let me give you an example. You skip the gym. You eat whatever. You say it's fine, I'm young. And then one day your body says, no more. Pain shows up in your knees, in your back, in your energy levels. That's not betrayal. That's a lesson. The body is telling you, you've got one machine, take care of it. Or maybe it's a relationship. You keep saying yes when you should say no. You tolerate disrespect. You avoid hard conversations. Then one day it ends, or it explodes. Pain comes in, but it doesn't just hurt you. It teaches you. It says next time set boundaries. Next time speak your truth. Pain is the tuition you pay to grow. And yes, it costs something. But you know what costs even more? Staying stuck, staying small, staying soft. Let me be clear. I'm not talking about suffering for the sake of suffering. I'm talking about productive pain. The kind that breaks your bad habits, confronts your comfort, and carves out the person you're meant to become. Because nothing changes until it gets uncomfortable. The best decisions I ever made, they were born from pain. Pain of being broke. Pain of being behind. Pain of watching others pass me by. But once I got tired of that pain, I stopped blaming, and I started building. I turned pain into fuel, and you can too. So here's your challenge. Don't run from pain. Learn from it. Don't numb it. Name it. Don't waste it. Work with it. Use it to get better. Use it to get stronger. Use it to change direction. Because here's what I've learned after all these years. Comfort may give you ease, but pain gives you purpose. And I'd rather live with the pain of discipline than the pain of regret. So if life is pressing on you right now, Good. That means something in you is ready to grow. Let's not waste that signal. Not everyone will cheer for you. Do it anyway. Let me tell you something most people won't say out loud. Not everyone wants to see you win. Now that might be hard to hear, especially if you've always assumed your friends would support you, your family would believe in you, the people around you would clap when you rise. But here's the truth, and it's a tough one. Some people won't clap, some will criticize, some will question you, mock you, or even root for your failure, not because they're evil, but because your growth threatens their comfort. Your ambition reminds them of their stagnation. Your discipline highlights their delay. That's just the reality. You shining exposes their shadows, and most people would rather dim you than deal with them. But listen, that's not your problem, because if you're waiting for universal approval before you move forward, you'll never move at all. Let me say it plainly. Success is a lonely road, at first, but it's also a necessary road, and it gets brighter with each step you take. You've got to get to the place where your purpose is louder than their opinion, where your conviction is stronger than their criticism. Think about this. The Wright brothers were laughed at. Until we had airplanes. Edison was doubted. Until the world had light. Even Jesus was ridiculed. And he was perfect. So what makes you think you'll get a pass? If you do anything that challenges the norm, you'll face resistance, not from your enemies, from your circle, from your supporters, from people you thought would understand. And you know what you do. You do it anyway. You build anyway. You post anyway. You practice anyway. You take the leap anyway. Because this is your life, not theirs. Your future, not their comfort. Your calling, not their commentary. Let me give you something practical, something you can hang on to. When you get criticized, don't get angry. Get focused. Don't lower your standard. Raise your consistency. Don't fight back. Level up. And here's the funny part. Once you start succeeding, the same people who doubted you will say they believed in you all along. They'll act like they always knew you had it. But don't get bitter, just get better. That's the game. You don't need permission to grow. You don't need applause to progress. You don't need a cheer squad to become great. All you need is the courage to move forward, even when the crowd is silent. So let me leave you with this. Don't shrink to fit their comfort. Don't slow down to match their pace. Don't dim your light just because they squint in the brightness. You're not building for their approval. You're building for your purpose. And when you do it for the right reasons, the right people will come. Until then, keep going. Talent is overrated. Discipline wins the race. Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear, but you need to. Talent is not enough. Let me say that again. Talent is not enough. You can be gifted, smart, skilled, even a genius, and still fail to reach your potential. Because talent might get you noticed, but discipline gets you results. It's easy to admire someone's abilities and say, well, they're just naturally gifted. But here's what I've found. The most successful people I've met weren't the most talented. They were the most disciplined. They were the ones who kept showing up. They were the ones who practiced when nobody watched. They were the ones who said no to distractions and yes to repetition. You see, discipline is the equalizer. It's what turns average people into champions. It's what makes a weak man strong. It's what transforms a good idea into a great result. Let me give you a real-world example. You take two people, one with natural ability, the other with discipline. 10 years from now, I'll bet on the disciplined one every time. Because talent gets lazy, discipline stays sharp. Talent relies on emotion. Discipline builds momentum. Talent hopes, discipline executes. And here's the key. Discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build every single day. When you wake up early, you're building it. When you go to the gym when you don't feel like it, you're building it. When you stick to your budget, read that book, make that call, you're stacking bricks, one by one. And eventually you look up, and there it is. A life you designed, a future you built, a legacy you earned. But without discipline, your talents stay buried, your dreams stay distant, and your life stays average. Now don't get me wrong, talent is nice, but if it doesn't meet a schedule, if it doesn't follow a routine, if it doesn't work when it doesn't feel like it, it fades. So let me ask you, what's your morning routine? What are your non-negotiables? What disciplines do you practice daily, even when nobody's watching? Because that is the foundation of your future. Discipline isn't sexy. It doesn't post well on social media, but it delivers quietly, powerfully, consistently. You don't rise to the level of your potential. You fall to the level of your habits. And habits are built by discipline. So if you want to win the race, don't just polish your talent. Sharpen your focus. Build a system. Stick to the plan. Show up when it's boring. Stay in the game when it's hard. Do the work when the world's distracted. Because the truth is simple. Talent may open the door, but discipline keeps it open. And if you stay consistent long enough, they'll stop calling you talented. They'll start calling you unstoppable. Life doesn't reward intention, only action. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to answer honestly. How many times have you said, I meant to, but didn't? I meant to start that business. I meant to call that friend. I meant to read that book, go to the gym, apply for that job. Now here's the problem. The world doesn't pay you for what you meant to do. It pays you for what you actually did. That's the gap, the chasm between intention and action. And it's where most people live. Dreaming, hoping, planning, but never pulling the trigger. Let me say it clearly. Life doesn't reward intention. It rewards execution. Now don't get me wrong. Intention is important. It gives you direction. It helps you aim. But if you stop at intention, you'll feel productive without ever producing anything. And that's dangerous. Because you trick yourself into thinking you're moving, when really you're just circling. You see, the road to regret is paved with good intentions, and the road to results, that's paved with daily, focused, consistent action. Let me break it down. You intend to save money, but you don't set a budget. You intend to lose weight, but you don't change your routine. You intend to grow your business, but you don't make the calls. You intend to write the book, but you never open the document. Intention without action is self-deception. You feel good for thinking about it, but your life stays the same. So how do you fix it? Simple, you move. Even if it's small, even if it's messy, even if it's not perfect. Start with what you've got. Use what you know. Take one step forward, and momentum will meet you. Because here's what I've learned. The smallest action will always beat the biggest intention. Every time, you don't need a perfect plan. You need to do something. Today, not next week. Not when the stars align. Not when your schedule is clear. Today, because every day you wait, the dream fades a little. And if you wait too long, you'll look back and say, I could have, I should have, but I didn't. And that, my friend, is the pain of regret. And it lasts a lifetime. So let's flip the switch. Let's stop being almost ready and start being fully committed. Make the call, write the chapter, start the routine, launch the page, take the risk, face the fear, put it in motion, because life doesn't reward thoughts. It rewards follow-through. Let me give you the formula again. One of my favorites. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. The difference? Discipline plus action. And if you keep stacking small actions, day after day, you'll be amazed at how fast your life transforms. So here's your assignment. Turn your to-do list into a done list. Set deadlines. Then meet them. Make action your identity. Not just your idea. Because if you want to change your life, you don't need a miracle. You just need to move. Now let's keep going. Money is a mirror. It reflects your habits. Let's talk about something that makes people uncomfortable, but needs to be said. Money is not the problem. It's not the villain. It's not evil. It's not what ruins people. It's what reveals them. Money is a mirror, and it reflects your habits, not your hopes. Let me explain. If you give $1,000 to someone who doesn't know how to manage $100, what happens? They lose it. Fast. Why? Because it wasn't about the amount. It was about the behavior. Here's the truth. If you overspend with a little, you'll overspend with a lot. If you avoid budgeting when you're broke, you'll avoid it when you're wealthy. If you can't delay gratification now, money will only magnify your chaos later. That's why I say, it's not the money. It's you. Your income may be different from someone else's, but your habits, that's where the power lives. Let me tell you what changed my life. How you handle a dollar is how you'll handle a fortune. When I was broke, flat broke, I realized something. If I couldn't manage a small check, how could I expect the universe to trust me with more? So I started simple. I tracked every penny. I cut out impulse spending. I gave each dollar a job. Save it, grow it, or spend it on purpose. Because here's what I know now. Wealth is not just earned, it's managed. Some people think, if I just made more money, I'd be fine. But let me warn you, more money doesn't fix bad habits. It feeds them. You don't get rich by accident. You get rich by design, by practicing financial discipline, no matter the income level. Here are a few habits that will change your financial future. Live below your means, not at your means. Not above, below. Track your spending. Know where every dollar goes, because if you don't, it'll wander. Save something every time you earn. Even if it's small, you're building muscle, not just money. Invest in your growth. Books, skills, tools. The returns are exponential. Give generously. Because money is a tool for impact, not just accumulation. Let me be crystal clear. Money doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are, with more options. So if you're broke, don't just chase income. Train your mindset. If you're earning, don't just spend. Build a system. If you want more, don't wish. Become someone who can handle more. You don't attract money by luck. You attract it by discipline, value, and intentionality. Because money flows where it's respected, and it flees where it's mismanaged. So the next time you check your bank balance, ask yourself, what habits got me here, and what habits will get me where I want to go? You want to fix your finances? Start by fixing your framework. Because when your mindset matures, your money will follow. Let's keep going. Because now we're stepping into a deeper truth. One that separates those who drift from those who lead. Self-mastery. You can't fix the world, but you must master yourself. Let's be honest. The world is messy. People are unpredictable. Politics are wild. Economies rise and fall. Technology changes by the minute. And some mornings it feels like the world has completely lost its mind. Now here's the temptation. We try to fix everything out there. We want to correct the system, the government, our job, our partner, our friends, everyone else. But let me give you a truth that'll set you free. You can't fix the world, but you must master yourself. That's the only thing truly in your control. You, your thoughts, your attitude, your reactions, your effort, your choices. You can't control the economy, but you can control your work ethic. You can't control other people, but you can control your boundaries. You can't control the news, but you can choose what you feed your mind. And that, my friend, is the beginning of power. You see, the people who thrive aren't the ones trying to control everything. They're the ones who have learned to control themselves. Let me tell you a story. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time blaming the company, the market, the circumstances. And one day my mentor looked at me and said, "Jim, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better." That line hit me like a lightning bolt. It shifted my thinking forever. Because if you focus on changing the world, but you don't change you, nothing really improves. But if you focus on changing you, the world starts to respond differently. It's like this. If you develop patience, your relationships improve. If you become disciplined, your finances improve. If you grow in courage, your opportunities expand. If you work on clarity, your decisions get stronger. Self-mastery is the foundation of all external success. And let me be clear, it's not about being perfect. It's about being responsible. About asking, what's my part in this? What can I improve? Here's a powerful truth. You either manage your mind or your mind manages you. You either direct your emotions or your emotions direct you. You either run your habits or your habits run your life. So how do you begin mastering yourself? Start small. Control your mornings. Before the world invades your mind. Control your reactions. Pause before you respond. Control your input. Audit what you read, watch and hear. Control your associations. Surround yourself with builders, not blamers. Control your language. Speak what builds, not what breaks. Because here's what I've learned. Personal power isn't about force. It's about focus. When you become strong on the inside, the outside loses its grip on you. And once you master yourself, once you become someone who's stable, clear, intentional, and wise, then you can start to lead, to lift, and to influence the world around you. But it starts with you. So the next time the world seems out of control, don't panic. Go to work, not on it, but on you. Because the world may never get easier, but you can become stronger. And that strength, that's your edge. That's your foundation. That's the version of you that wins. No matter the season, let's keep going. You will fail. The question is, will you learn? Let's get something out in the open. You will fail. Not maybe, not possibly, not if things go wrong. You will fail. And that's not a warning. That's a guarantee. You'll fail at something you tried hard at. You'll fail when you least expect it. You'll fail even when you've done everything right. But let me give you the other half of the truth. Failure doesn't ruin you. It reveals you. The question is not, will you fall? The real question is, what will you do after? Because that's where the line is drawn, between those who grow and those who stay stuck. You see, average people fear failure. They avoid it, hide from it, run from it. But the successful, they study it. They ask, What did this teach me? Where did I go wrong? What can I do better next time? And then they apply the lesson immediately. That's the secret. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of it. It's a chapter in the book, not the final page. Let me tell you something from my own life. When I was young, I made plenty of mistakes. In business, in relationships, in choices. I failed in front of people. I failed when no one was watching, and for a while it discouraged me. I thought something was wrong with me, but then I realized failure wasn't punishment. It was feedback. It wasn't saying you're finished. It was saying here's where you need to grow. Once I saw that, everything changed. I stopped fearing failure, and I started learning from it. Now listen, I'm not talking about failing from laziness. I'm not talking about giving half effort and calling it a lesson. I'm talking about putting your heart in, giving your best shot, and still falling short. That kind of failure builds wisdom. That kind of failure builds grit. That kind of failure builds you. Because every time you fail and get back up with more insight, you become more dangerous to mediocrity. You become someone who can't be stopped by embarrassment. Someone who's not controlled by ego. Someone who knows I didn't lose. I learned. Here's something practical. After every failure, write down 3 lessons. Reflect, but don't ruminate. Adjust the process, not your identity. Try again, this time smarter. You want to be successful, get good at bouncing back. Because life doesn't reward those who never fall. It rewards those who get up one more time than they fall. Let me say it like this. If you fail and don't learn, that's a waste. But if you fail and do learn, that's a win. So when you fall, and you will, don't fold, don't panic, don't hide, don't quit, pause, reflect, extract the gold, and move forward better. Because the people at the top, they're not flawless, they're just relentless learners. And every time they got knocked down, they asked the question that changes everything. What is this here to teach me? So ask that question, often, because failure isn't the enemy, quitting the lesson is. Let's keep going, because now it's time to bring it all together. Your legacy is being written, with or without you. Let me take a moment and speak to the deeper part of you. The part that wants to matter, because at the end of all your effort, your struggle, your goals, and your growth, there's one thing that remains. Your legacy. Now when I say legacy, I'm not talking about statues or headlines. I'm not talking about millions in the bank or buildings with your name on them. I'm talking about something much bigger and much more personal. Legacy is how people remember you when you're not in the room. And after you're gone, it's the echo of your values, the fingerprints of your character, the ripple effect of your decisions. And whether you know it or not, you're writing that legacy, right now, with every word you speak, with every action you take, with every promise you keep or break. Your life is not a rough draft, it's being published in real time. Every morning you wake up, you add another paragraph, every choice, another sentence. And the scary part, you don't get to choose whether you leave a legacy, only what kind you leave. Some people drift through life, thinking legacy is something they'll build later, but later is a lie. Later is how regret is born. Legacy isn't built in one big moment. It's built in the small, quiet, daily moments. The way you show up, the way you treat people, the way you live when no one's watching. So here's my question. What are you leaving behind, on purpose or by default? Are you known for keeping your word or avoiding responsibility? Are you a builder of people or a source of bitterness?